So another video I want to test out right now is the M4 Mac Mini versus the Ryzen 9800X3D on how they compare to each other between productivity app, multitasking, concentration and all that. And let's see how, they fare each other, at least on benchmarks. So let's go to the computer and test them out with a few apps. All right, so we are on Windows 11 right now on my 9800X3D CPU. This is Windows 11 right here. This is my gaming PC. So let's start with Geekbench 6, and then we're gonna compare this number with my macOS Geekbench Mac Mini. Anyways, let's start with CPU benchmark right now. Here we go. All right, with the power of video editing, we have the results right here for the CPU benchmark as his system product name. Single core is at 3054, while multi-core score is at 15,691. So as you can see right here, this is an 8-core. Maximum frequency is 5.2 gigahertz right here. 32. I have a 32 gigabyte RAM at 6,000 megahertz. This is CL. I forgot what CL this is. I think 30 or something. I may be wrong. It's on the top of my head, but I can't remember right now. Anyways, let's move on to the GPU. I have a 6900 XT. This is the Nitro Plus Special Edition, so it might be factory overclocked, but I don't know if that matters. But here we go. Okay, so with the power of video editing again, we have the OpenCL score right here of the GPU at 133,590. Okay, so you can see right here, basically this is the OpenCL score, background blur, face detection and all that. Now, let me go back here. Let's try Vulkan this time. Put this down and run. All right, so for the Vulkan score, it is at 135,885. It says valid here, whatever. Go down here, Vulkan performance, face detection and all that. So that's it. Okay, so let's try HandBrake this time. I have a test video right here that we're gonna be using. Okay, we're gonna use this one. This is one of the B-rolls I was using, playing Counter-Strike and all that. What we're gonna do is let's go for very fast 4K AV1. So we're just gonna use any presets and then also on macOS. So let's do this. Start encode. How can we check? Is there a... That's right here. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have to wait and see when it's done. So right here, almost done. Let's see, summary. So this is about to be done. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so encode duration is at 5 minutes and 43 seconds. Average encode speed, 39.68 FPS right here. So yeah, you can see here source length is at 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Output, same. Output file size, 474 MB, 25% source file. Okay, anyways. 5 minutes and 43 seconds on the Ryzen 9800X3D with the GPU 6900 XT. I'm not sure how much the GPU was being used right here. Everything was set on preset. So we are gonna compare this on the macOS. There we go. But before we do that, we are going to test Blender this time. I think there's a Blender benchmark that we can use. All right, so we are downloading the Blender benchmark launcher right now. Hopefully we have the same, benchmark launcher for macOS. So we're gonna be doing this one right now and see. Okay, so select device you want to benchmark. Yeah, let's do the processor. Although, I guess we are trying to get the M4 Apple Silicon versus the Ryzen 9800X3D. So yeah, that would make sense. Can you guys hear the fans right now running? I do have the NZXT Kraken, but it's set to check the CPU temperature. How much is it? Oh, it's at 80. Wow. Let's start the cam right here. Just so you guys can see, CPU is 100%. GPU is not being used. RAM. I have Discord running on the background. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Temperature is at 78 degrees right now Celsius. Yeah, that gets a little hot. But I think the X3D chips always run a bit hotter. Oh wow, 83, 84. Yeah, it's really up there. Although real world applications, you're not going to be using this for these type of benchmarks or video editing. This is for games. Usually on games, it's hovering around 50 to 60. Okay, benchmark complete. Just successfully. Okay, Monster 124, junk shop. Okay, yeah, whatever these are. I want to see how long that took. Should I submit result? But what does it do though? Oh, open in browser. Okay. Oh, that's a bummer. I couldn't see it. I guess I'm just gonna have to do the timestamp on the video or something. Verify the token in the browser now. Close it. Yeah, I just wanted how long it takes, the time comparison versus the M4 Mac Mini. So quitting. All right, so we're moving on. We're gonna go to Mac OS and see how it compares to the 9800X3D. All right, so we are on Mac OS desktop right now, as you can see. This is the M4 Mac Mini. We are going to be testing the Geekbench right now. Let's run CPU first, and then we'll go for GPU in a bit. So here we go. All right, so results on the OpenCL for the Apple M4 GPU is at 31,617. So that's pretty good. That's not too bad. But I've seen some M4 OpenCL around 37,000. Maybe 40,000. Don't quote me on that, but considering we are running OBS here and sending it to the unrated OBS through NDI, this is pretty good in my opinion. So let's do the metal this time. Minimize this, and here we go. All right, so results for the metal Apple M4, it's at 54,672. That's pretty good considering we're running OBS and stuff. So that's not too shabby. I think it's pretty good, especially for a $600 form factor with that tiny device. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna close this, minimize this one, and we're gonna run the Blender benchmark. Open, next. 4.3, yes. Latest one. Yep, same thing. Monster, Junk Shop, Classroom. Preparing download. Here we go. Alright, so benchmark is running right now. For some reason, the OBS didn't record, but I've selected the Apple M4 CPU just to be, I guess, have apples to apples comparison with the Ryzen 9800X3D. Although I may run the Apple GPU and run the, I guess, GPU 6900 XT on the Windows 11 just to check. We'll see though. What's crazy is I can't hear any of the fans on the M4 Mac Mini running at all. Okay, we were running at around 514, 515. Let's put it at 514, just to be fair. Oh, now I can hear the fan running tiny bit. Okay, it's done. Here we go, samples per minute. I guess this is what we will be comparing. It says samples per minute. Monster is at 107.745561. Junk Shop 22.77443. And Classroom 22.97. Okay, so we're gonna compare this. I guess hopefully we can compare this or put it side by side. Let's run the GPU this time. 4.3, same thing. Let's do Apple GPU 10 cores. Start benchmark. All right, so we're just gonna compare those numbers and see. I'll be right back. All right, so here are the results for the GPU, Apple M4 GPU 10 cores. Monster 476.30, 1632. Junk Shop 202.24. Classroom 283.60. Okay, So those are definitely way bigger numbers than the CPU, in my opinion. So last one we are going to be doing would be the Windows 11 on my GPU 6900 XT, and hopefully we have all the results. There we go. All right, so we have the results right here on the macOS HandBrake. Runtime is 7 minutes and 38 seconds. Average speed at 29.56 FPS. Again, this is on the preset of 4K AV1 right here. Okay, back at Windows 11 right here. We're just going to be checking last one right here. Blender benchmark for the GPU. Here we go, same one. And then next, listing devices. Let's do 6900 XT. Here we go. Warming up the scene. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, and here is the result for the 6900 XT Blender benchmark. Pretty good, high. Pretty good actually, to be honest with you. Monster 1099.32, Chunk Shop 649.29, Classroom 568.82. Those are pretty good numbers, although probably the 4090 RTX 4090 might be a lot more higher. But then again, we're talking about the GPU alone, especially during COVID, this was like $900, and the entire M4 Mac Mini is only $599 or even $499 for student discount. So I mean, I think the M4 Mac Mini is doing well, I guess. But this is the numbers, and I'll see you guys in a bit. So there you go. Those are the results. I'm a little bit surprised that, well, not really surprised, but I'm looking at the spreadsheet right here. So the M4 Mac Mini on Geekbench single core surprisingly has higher score than the Ryzen 9800X3D. The M4 was 3,535 versus the Ryzen 9800X3D at 3,054 on single core. Now on the multi-core though, the M4 Mac Mini was at 14,037, while the 9800X3D was at 15,691. So the Ryzen one is slightly better than the M4 Mac Mini. But you know, the price of the Ryzen 9800X3 is about $500 compared to the M4 Mac Mini, which is about $599 the entire computer. You know, one CPU versus the entire computer. Under the Geekbench OpenCL though, this is where it kind of has a huge gap because, well, it was kind of an unfair comparison actually, because the M4 Mac Mini has its own integrated chip right there, and it was around 31,617. We were using the the GPU is basically inside the M4 chip, basically integrated GPU, while the Ryzen 9800X3D I was using the 6900 XT, a dedicated graphics card for that, which resulted in 133,590. But then again, gotta compare. GPU was around $900 at that time during 2021. So, one GPU for $900 is more expensive than the entire computer. So that one, I was kind of surprised that it's able to at least hang in there for such a small form factor. Even the fan, actually, I can hear the fan of the 6900X3D just, it's kind of like a turbine or something, an exhaust. While the M4 Mac Mini, I did hear the fan spinning, but it was like you really have to like get close to it, basically. All right, moving on. The Vulkan versus Metal, almost the same thing. Although on the M4 Mac Mini, it actually went up at 54,672, while the 9800X3D pretty much the same at 135,885. So Metal is more optimized on the M4 Mac Mini. Now under HandBrake, the M4 Mac Mini finished at 7 minutes and 38 seconds, while the 9800X3D was 5 minutes and 43 seconds. So almost 2 minutes faster than the M4 Mac Mini right there. Encode speed on the M4 Mac Mini was 29.56 FPS, frames per second, while the 9800X3D at 39.68 FPS. And then we went to Blender on CPU. So you can see the pattern right here. When it's just CPU versus CPU, they're pretty much neck to neck. Except for the GPU, because I was using the 6900 XT, which is not a fair comparison. You know, I integrated graphics versus dedicated graphics, which is even more expensive than the computer. Anyways, on Blender, on the CPU, it was like 107.75, and then 22. So, and then on Ryzen was 124. So like the Ryzen 9800X3D has a, you know, beat out the M4 Mac Mini by a slight margin, you know, but the entire CPU price is almost the same as the entire Mac Mini, basically. So what I can say is, surprisingly, the M4 chip, which is almost like the, you know, what you use on the cell phones, is very, very optimized for productivity, video editing, especially the apps that are made for macOS, or, you know, for that chip. They're very, very optimized. You actually will feel very, you know, very snappy, very fast and all that, compared to a Windows computer that has a raw power, but most of the apps are not really that optimized, which kind of makes it feel sluggish or slower, you know, when you're on Adobe Premiere Pro. Even though, you know, it's a $5,000 computer, sometimes you still have to, the preview mode still have to put it under, you know, lower settings and all that. Anyways, I digress. So that is really, really a bit surprising, and not so surprising to me to see that. I'm surprised that a $599 computer in such small form factor is able to at least keep up with a very expensive computer or a very expensive CPU. But then again, 9800X3D is intended for games. It's optimized for games. So on games, there's no competition. Like, M4 Mac Minis can't run games. I mean, it can, but it's not playable. So that's it for this video. And don't forget to smash the like button. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to the channel. And I'm going to see you on the next video.